you spell racist?
NYPD.
How you spell racist?
NYPD.
We have a mayor who walks around pretending that he is an advocate for our communities as it relates to police. He promised reform. He promised to take the department and change it and take it in a new direction. But what we have seen is more the same. He wants to take the same stop and frisk check and cash it over and over and over again. When the problem with the police department did not start nor end with stop and frisk. We have murderers on the police department.
Yes.
And until you put in a system of accountability whereby we can take a murderer from the tax payroll and put a prison number on his chest, we have yet to see real reform. So the question is, what does justice for Shantel look like today? Does it look like an indictment? Probably not. Does it look like a civil suit? Even if it's a civil suit, that's not justice. What justice for Shantel looks like today is holding this mayor accountable for his lies as it relates to reforming the police department. As long as you can have the murderers of innocent people maintain their employment, you have not changed the police department. As long as we have the murderers of Shantel Davis still collecting a check out of all of our pockets, we have not seen justice. Until this mayor can meet with the families of the victims of those murdered by the police and look them in the eye and say to them on behalf of the people of the city of New York, I'm sorry. And not only say I'm sorry, but say here's what we're going to do to change it so that no other family suffers like you have. Until that day comes, this mayor has yet to fulfill his commitment to transforming this police department. This mayor promised reform, transformation. So justice for Shantel today means he's got an answer for why Philip Atkins is still on the police force. After 6 civil rights judgments against him before Shantel was murdered. Why 5 years later this murderer is still on the police force? Why years later the murderer of Ramali Graham is still on the police force? There are murderers after murderers collecting a check out of our tax dollars.
A pension.
And if they're smart, they'll retire before the department kicks them out. So they can continue to collect our tax dollars till they die. The murderers of Sean Bell were collecting a check for years after Sean was taken. So what is this mayor going to do to deliver justice to this family, to this community, and to this city for the murder of Shantel Davis?
So I stand here this evening as one of the many people that love Shantel. For those who don't know, I'm her Aunt Angie. This morning I woke up and thought to myself, 5 years ago today, she had a few hours to live. 5 years ago today, when they diverted traffic off Church Avenue, because, of course, she was late on that corner, I was in the traffic. This morning I said, what if I had walked? What if I didn't take that dollar cab home? If I had walked, I would have seen it. If I had walked, I could have at least been with her. At least I could have been able to be with her in her last moments. But I didn't. Lots of what ifs today. Today more than other days, 5 days later. We shouldn't be gathered here to remember life, but we are forced to. Because 5 years ago, she was brutally murdered by Detective Bill Atkins, Bad Boy Atkins. No parent, sibling, aunt, niece, or anyone should lose a loved one this way. Why do we have to fight for police accountability? Why do we have to keep fighting to keep our loved one's name clear with the media? Why don't we have answers to any of our loved ones' murders? So many whys, no answers. The only thing that I do know is that I will keep fighting for justice. Justice for all the stolen lives. Justice for my Shantel. I truly want to thank all you amazing people who keep coming out, who keep supporting, who stay in the streets, who give us support when we need it. That's every day. It's not easy. I thank everyone for being vigilant. We are one big family.
So many of our youth have been gunned down senselessly. Modern day lynching in the city streets. The victims of violence are so often the poor. They're either killed in their own neighborhoods or die in rich men's wars. Racist police murders are labeled as mistakes. So many innocent lives they take. I honor Kimani, Shantel, Sean Bell, Reynaldo, Marley, Diallo, Joel, more names than I can tell. The only way to end it is to stand up and fight. It can't be done alone. The workers must unite. Let's take it to the streets. Take it to the world. Stand up, young and old. Let's do it for Ayana, Kimani, Shantel, Sean Bell, Reynaldo,
right now we're all probably feeling really heavy and really sad, including me. Natasha is one of my heroes. I don't think she actually knows how much she inspires me and how much she moves me to act. She, along with all of the other families who've lost loved ones to the police that the Justice Committee works with. And I want us all to hold her and Angie and Crystal and the whole family in our hearts right now and hold that sadness. But I also want us all to be enraged right now. So let's be sad, let's be heartbroken, because this is heartbreaking. But let's also be angry, let's be enraged. Because Shantel Davis, her car had crashed. She was trapped behind an airbag. There is no way she posed any threat to anyone. In fact, any sane person who was actually out to protect and serve probably would have called an ambulance and tried to make sure that she was okay. Instead, Philip Atkins approached the car with his gun drawn and he gunned her down, and then he dragged her out in the street and let her die there. This happened 5 years ago, and the family still does not know. Is there a criminal investigation? Is there a departmental investigation? Last month, Natasha sent a letter to acting Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez. This is somebody who wants you all to vote for him to become the ongoing Brooklyn District Attorney. She sent a letter and she said, my sister's 5-year anniversary is coming up, the 5-year anniversary of her death. And what I want is to sit down with you and hear from you what is going on. I want to hear from you before June 14th, 2017. She sent that letter certified mail. A number of us have been calling, emailing daily to try and get answers about why she has heard nothing. And yet here we are, June 14th, 2017, and she has not heard back. So it's time to step it up, because this is not okay. We can't have a district attorney who says that he's going to work for the people, not simply pick up the phone and respond to Natasha's letter and to a grieving family after 5 years. We need to do this for Shantel's family. We need to demand that the Brooklyn District Attorney actually answers their questions, holds Philip Atkins accountable, and we need to let him know that he's not going to get our votes unless he does.
I want to say something very important about the families that are here tonight, because I'm going to introduce a mother next. And the reason why I want to bring them up is because these are families who have suffered great injustice by not just the hand of the NYPD, but this whole system is guilty of what they've done to the Davis family and to every family that suffered police brutality, and to every family member that has somebody incarcerated, and to every family member who's experienced any type of violence within this system. And the fact that these mothers and fathers, in their mourning, because they're still mourning the loss of their family member. When we say stolen, we mean that. Because when you're on your way from school or from home and you're gunned down for being who you are, you're stolen from us, from our community. And the fact that beyond their grieving, they still have solidarity is one of the most beautiful things that we can experience. Sometimes the system likes to build it up that we have to look out for only ourselves and be individualistic. But this moment right here is proving how collective and how loving our community really is. Now I want to introduce a mother who has been fighting for her son, Romali Graham, for years.
That's right.
And this year, they issued her a slap in the face. And instead of staying down, she's right here for Shantel Davis, for Natasha, for Crystal, and for Angie.
That's right.
She could have been home. She could have been down and out. But Miss Constance is here.
don't want to say God forgive me because I didn't go to church. I thought it was going to be on 37th Street in church. So forgive me. I'm happy to be here supporting the Davis family. I've been supporting this family for 5 years. I remember the day when Kirsten and Tamika was actually at my house when I was doing the rally. It was a Thursday. And that's when they got the text about Shantel was shot and dragged down the middle of the street. And they showed it to me. And the first thing I said, this is happening again, when it's gonna stop. And it's 5 years later, and this family still can't get justice for their sister. What these officers and politicians don't understand is not just mothers and father fighting, because Crystal and Natasha is a living proof that, you know, their sisters out there that fighting that nobody recognized, and they've been on the front line. And when they kill a family member, they think it's just like the mother and father that is affected. It's not. It's the sister and the brother that also affected, and they don't get recognized for that. And they don't understand that when they kill a person, they interrupt the whole family, and it disrupts the whole family, and sometimes even tear family apart because they don't know how to fight. But thank God this family stick together and been fighting for their sister. You know, like Yusan said, it's election time. And we have to make sure we know who we're voting for. We have to treat these politicians it's like if they go to a job interview. That's how we have to treat them. And don't forget this stupid mayor that's running around in this city. Because he runs around here and act like he don't know what's going on. Yes, he was not the mayor when it happened, but ever since this police killing been going on behind Shantel, and he act like he don't know what is going on. He do know what's going on, and people remember it's election time coming up. And don't make de Blasio fool you with this Vision Zero and pre-K. Yes, we're glad for pre-K and everything, but that's all he did. So we have to remember we go out and put our votes in. Remember, we have to hold these politicians accountable, because they go behind closed doors and they make all these deals behind our backs. And they come out and act like they don't know, they didn't do anything. So we have to hold them accountable. Natasha, Crystal, you know I stand with you, and I'm always going to stand with you. I know this fight. Love you. I know this fight because I've been fighting for 5 years. And you see what they do to us. You see what they did to me. You know, they let Richard Hayes resign. And, you know, when he was supposed to be fired. But at the end of the day, I might not got what I wanted, but I forced him to resign. I got him off the force. No matter how it happened, he got off the force. And that would not never happen if it was for me and the community and the organizing people behind me. That would have never happened because I didn't lay down. I decided that, you know, through my whole grief, I wasn't going to settle for anything. I want to know what happened to my son, and no matter how far it took me, I'm going to go there with them. Because at the end of the day, Shantel didn't do anything. Her car crashed. He didn't even give her a chance even to go to court and make that decision if she was guilty or not guilty. These cops have this authority. They feel like, I'm going to shoot you and kill you and ask questions later. That's not why we have a court. We have a court system for people to go through it to see if you're guilty or not. But oftentimes, these cops, this is what they do. And a lot of these judges is behind it. So not only about mayors and council and we have to hold these judges elected too, because they are elected by us. When we go to vote, we have to pay attention to who we voting for. Because that's a big problem. A lot of times we just go to vote and we just put stuff down and walk out. I'm one who used to do that. Because I was never into politics until Obama really came in. And I know a lot of young people didn't vote until Obama came in. A lot of people didn't vote. They vote because of stop and frisk. Because they was being harassed so much, they wanted to stop. And when Mayor de Blasio came and said he was going to get rid of it, which he didn't, you know, it was a slap in the face because he ran on a black vote. Because he was happening so much to black people, he used that to his advantage. We saw it Sunday in the Puerto Rican Day Parade. That's the only reason why he was out there, because he was looking for votes. So people, pay attention. Pay attention. Take my foolish advice and pay attention. Thank you, Crystal, Natasha, love you, and I'm always going to support you. No matter where you are, I will support you. Thank you.
One of the things that I've learned while being active in the movement with this family is that people from all walks of life and all struggles have come together to stand with this family. And Amani Henry is a great example of that. Amani Henry does a lot of beautiful work in Brooklyn, in this area actually, against gentrification with the Equality for Flatbush group. Right? I said it right. Right? Right? Okay, yes. Okay. And it shows how connected all our struggles are against this one system. And it shows that no matter what type of struggle you're involved in, we can all stand together as a group, because it all matters. So please welcome Imani Henry.
So I just want to say what an honor it is to just be in this room with all of you. Equality for Flatbush started in 2013, and specifically around the murders of Kamani Gray and Shantel Davis. Just to be frank, we lost 3 people between 2012 and 2013. And when our sister sings the song that she sings, for those of us in this neighborhood, we hear it 3 to 4 times a year. And that in a tiny little, Flatbush is huge, East Flatbush is huge, but for us in our quote unquote tiny hood that we live in, that we've had so many murders, so many families, it is so infuriating and enraging that we're here, that want to acknowledge Cam Livingston's, defense, community defense folks that are here tonight. I want to acknowledge that for those of us that are in this community of Flatbush, East Flatbush, that all the various families can spell this here, that so many families, whether it be Carson Malcolm, whether it be Miss Baum, whether it be the folks from the Bronx, come to East Flatbush and Flatbush so often to stand with community here, because we have lost so many people. That Equality for Flatbush is to be, we do anti-gentrification work, but we do anti-police violence work. We are the accountability group in the neighborhood, and we do cop watch. The East Flatbush Cop Watch team was created because of Kamani Gray, but because there was a rebellion in this community. Because young people stood up, and this is important. I want to be really clear, as someone who is almost 50 years old, that when they talk about outside agitators, when they talk about the fact that it wasn't young people, I want to be clear, the young people had agency in this neighborhood. The love that people felt for Kamani, for Kiki, is we can't even measure it. And those young people rose up. That's why we have a cop watch team. That's why I can even say that the Equality of Flatbush exists, because of the young people, because of the families in this neighborhood standing up and leading the way for the rest of us. So I want to just say thank you for that. I think I've unplugged myself. I don't know. I just want to, before I go, I just want to be real concrete. Hoops for Justice is coming up. And this is important. And I want to just even say this about Natasha and Angie. Do you know that this is, what is it? We're going into year, is this a 5th annual year, right? This is a 5th annual, obviously. This is a 5th annual year, sorry y'all. They have fronted this event every single year by themselves until last year. Until, really frankly, we forced them to do a GoFund page. This event, they raised $4,000 last year. That they carried this for the community. It's over 200 to 400 young people come out, get t-shirts, trophies. They cook food, we barbecue, we grill, and they did this all on their own to support the East Flatbush community. So just much love to them, that we will not let them do that ever again. Every year from now on, and we make sure that Hoops for Justice happens, because we will not let this family, as beautiful it is, do that ever again by themselves. To give back to all of us and to commemorate the lives of Kiki and Shantel. So I want to encourage everyone. The GoFund page is going to come up soon. Please give. Tell everyone to give. Let's make sure we raise the money so Hoops of Justice happens. Oh, Hoops of Justice is August 8th, 5th this year. Please come out. It's 9 o'clock. It's all day. Let everyone know. And the last thing I want to say is very much, if you are a person of color over the age of 18 and you live in East Flatbush or the surrounding areas, please join our Cop Watch team. We need to make sure that no one, like Shantel, is murdered for driving while black or brown in our neighborhoods. We have to make sure that we already know that we're not going to get justice. So we have to hold the police accountable. And by us being out and patrolling in the community, we're the ones that keep our community safe. We're the ones that make sure that these police don't just get away with trying to murder our people. And that's why we patrol our neighborhoods. We particularly want to throw up to people that Juve and Caribbean Day is coming.
Yeah.
Please, if you are in a position to be part of the Cop Watch organizing this year, please do that, because we really want to make sure that not one more murder happens in East Flatbush or Flatbush. Much love to you, family. Power to the people.
One of the things that Imani just made me think about was the fact that Cop Watch was started by the Panthers, right? Yes. And the reason why it was started was because the community was getting violated by police and those type of authorities and needed something. And the only people that stood up weren't the politicians, weren't the police themselves who said, okay, we're going to stop harassing you. It was people in the community, young people, who took to the streets and protected their communities. Little Bobby Hunton, who was the first Panther recruit, was 14 years old when he came around the Panthers. And this is the legacy that Cop Watch and this community is following. We have to protect each other and stand with each other and be there for each other. And so if you can Cop Watch, and just so you know, it is not illegal to record the police.
Not at all.
You have every right to have your cell phone, your camera, if you have a video recorder, whatever it is you want to use to record the police, you have every right to do so. And if they snatch your phone and they snatch your piece of technology and tell you it's illegal, they're lying to intimidate you. Because that is what they do. Because the worst thing they want are people who know their rights and stand up for themselves. We are the scariest thing to the police and to this administration. Us. Us sitting in this room. Right now we're in a church and there are 3 cop cars outside. Why?
They're cowards.
We are the most intimidating thing that can ever exist. A group of people coming together for a family. So, Valerie Bell is here tonight with us.
Yes. Yes.
I always give God the glory. Of course, without him in my life, I would not be standing here. I met Natasha 3 years ago, even though it happened 5 years. I met you in 2014. We all came together for Justice Committee. And the Justice Committee been with me forever. It's been 10 years and 7 months. And I wasn't a fighter back then when it first started. I didn't come out in 2014. But I fight more now for the people who are losing lives senseless after my son. And we're here today to honor your sister Shantel Davis. I say keep the memories in your heart. That's what keeps the smile on your face. Don't, you have to walk alone, keep on walking for your sister. 5 years, spiritually right hand of fellowship. So we all here fellowshipping together for Shantel Davis. Like Lusan said, raise your hand. You have 5 fingers. You need them hands to help work with Natasha. You have 5 toes, you have 5 toes in each feet. You need those feet to walk. Whenever she calls, you be with her. We all come together when it first happened, crowds and crowds of people. We do not forget her for the work she's doing for her sister. You might not get justice here on earth, but you definitely get it in heaven. Because I believe faithfully in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Because he will keep you. Constantly keep talking about your sister so they would not forget her. And I pray that you would get the justice that I didn't get. People like the Justice Committee who was working with them, stay behind her to get to that DA who wants to be the DA of Brooklyn. And I pray that whoever's the next mayor, I wasn't out there when Babe Blueburn was doing what he was doing. But now, we have to keep and stand together. I love you all, and God bless you. Anytime you want me, Natasha, you have my number.
I met Natasha and her family 5 years ago under horrible circumstances. And I have to tell you, of course I regret how we met, but it's been the highlight of my life knowing Natasha. She is a fighter, she is strong, and she's an organizer. Tasha and I work together at Parksville Collegiate High School, where if it wasn't disgusting enough that this system took her sister, now they're trying to take our job. Natasha is under investigation by the Department of Education for political organizing. And so am I. So is our principal. And so is another teacher. And when they say political organizing, what the DOE means is fighting racism, teaching our students to fight back, to get in the streets when someone is murdered, to fight against the metal detectors that they have to walk in through every day. That's what they mean by political organizing, fighting back, fighting against racism, fighting for multiracial unity and integration in our schools. So I just want to tell you guys that Natasha needs your help and she needs your support. She needs your support in this fight. Next week we're going in to speak to the investigators and we're going to plan a rally after that to show the DOE that we will not be intimidated. We will not be intimidated. We will not stop teaching our children to fight back. Natasha's been in our school for less than a year and already.
Shutting it down.
And already. Doing that work, exactly. And so I want to say that, I think that we can do a little bit better than what's been said here, that what justice for Shantel Davis looks like. I think we can imagine a better world, a world that Shantel deserved, a world that Tasha's students now deserve.
That's right.
Not this system that cannot even clothe, feed, house currently the people that are in it. And for me, when I was in high school, I found out quickly, for me that system was communism. And that is what my biggest wish for Shantel and her sisters and her nieces and her nephew. A world free of this disgusting, racist, sexist system that doesn't deserve to exist.
You want to talk. One of the things I wanted to mention is that the NYPD just got a $5 billion, well, how much was it? $5 billion budget and graduated their highest class ever in history. And yet none of that money is being put into the education system. So you see where their interests are. To police and intimidate us and not see the future of our children. And so the fact that you, Natasha, are shutting it down after 8-9 months of work, you're doing the right thing. You're doing it right. So speaking of that, I want to bring Natasha up, but one of the things, and she's not coming up to like close or anything, she's coming up with something very specific. But one of the things I want to say about her is that Natasha doesn't know, or maybe she knows, but acts like she doesn't know how strong she is and how militant she is.
Facts.
The fact that you keep going and you're organizing things for the community and for your sister and for your family is one of the strongest things you can do. And you don't give yourself credit. And she's like, Kirby, I don't want to speak. Just put me later. Put me in the back. Every time. Everybody's annoyed by you. Just but yet, everyone here can attest to how strong you are. And how brave you are. Because the other side of organizing from these families is police harassment to the families. And the fact that you still decide to fight every day, that's a decision that you made. You didn't have to do this. It's beautiful. And so when we honor Shantel and Ange and Crystal and everyone else in your family, that's also for you.
I just want to make sure that I thank everyone for being here. Every year, and everybody knows I stress out about who's gonna come, what I'm supposed to do, what should I do, because I just want people to remember Shantel. Like June 14th is not just the day Shantel was taken. Every day I think about her. Sometimes I see people on the street that I think is her. And I just have, you know, these memories, like the video, you heard her on the voicemail. That's a voice message that she left. She actually left it on Crystal's phone. And I saved it. And I just keep putting it on different phones. I've had so many phones since then, but I just try to transfer it. I transfer the email. I just keep it because sometimes I stay up and I just replay it and replay it and replay it just so I can have some memory. So I just want to thank everybody who's here for supporting us, because sometimes I don't know how we can do it.
We love you.
Love you, honey. Love you. I want to thank this person. Before I give out, I have some awards that I want to give out to some people, but before I do, I should probably gonna fire me tomorrow. But we talk about people that's being strong and people that do things, and this person, she works with the kids and she do everything for these kids from her heart, and she's not gonna let the DOE silence her. She speaks, she fights back. Like, so I got to the school September, and they were fighting. Well, before I even got to the school, they fought metal detectors. My school has had so many rallies. Anything that's happening that's an ounce of injustice, my principal is on it. And she doesn't like the attention, but I have to acknowledge that. She says that I'm strong, but I take my strength from people like her, who does everything that she does from the bottom of her heart, no matter what. And right now, she's being targeted by the DOE because she speaks out. The last fight that the school had was because our sports teams in the building was unfair. You have a school that's an elite school that's in our building that has, what, 17 sports teams, while my school plus two others, we have to share sports team. We only have seven approved. We have to share this whole space in the building. And I just, Jill Bloomberg, I know she hates me right now, but guys, please, I want to thank her so much for all that she does, and I need you guys to stand up and give her a big round of applause. Because we got her, we got her, we got her, we got her. Thank you so much, Jill. I love you so much. I have a couple of awards. These are people who, if I call and say, I need a pen, like a pen is at my door in 2 seconds. Anything I could ask for. All this that happened tonight, I barely had to do anything because I was so nervous and stressed out. So when I call your organization, just stand up and then someone will pass you the award. So the first certificate of appreciation, I'll read it out to you. The certificate is presented to Progressive Labor Party. Thank you for supporting the struggle for justice for Shantel Davis and all victims of police violence, for always supporting our family and the community. We appreciate you very much and look forward to standing side by side with you for years to come. So somebody from Progressive Labor Party. The awards say the same thing, so you can just pass that to her. I don't know if y'all want to take photo ops, you can do that wherever. The award say the same thing, so I'm not going to read it again. But this award is for, same thing, certificate of appreciation for Justice Committee. Yes, thank you. Certificate of appreciation, equality for Flatbush. Listen, if the rent is going up, I need somebody to talk to. Right now they're fighting. What's the apartment? 486 Brooklyn? Rodent infestation? Well, there you go. So, and this person, when this happened, first of all, I met this person a really long time ago, and when Shantel was murdered, this person was the first person that I called because I couldn't even understand what was going on. I didn't know what the hell to do. And this person is going to be very surprised, but I wouldn't be able to be up here if this person didn't have my back. This person like supports me through whatever, and I'm difficult. I'm difficult. Okay, just a little bit. But I don't think he understands or knows how much I appreciate him and love him. And I want to thank him for being the most amazing husband, father, supporter. That's it for now.
So the next person I want to introduce is a woman who has I met. Okay, I'm gonna like blow her up because she said, "Oh, just introduce me as a person." Yeah, right. Okay. I met this person 7 years ago or something like that. Nothing to your age, everything towards my age. When I had the idea to organize a march from the Bronx to Harlem during the 1-year anniversary of Trayvon Martin's murder. And from that day on, myself and I think most of everyone in this room has worked with this woman. She is one of the most fiery speakers. Oh, don't shake your head. Don't shake your head. Oh, it's coming. It's getting worse. She's so passionate about her people. She's so sharp with her line. I think that's another thing, too. I think sometimes people like to act like you need a degree to be sharp and know what's going on and explain things to your people, but that's not what it is. And she's so right there with us. So please welcome Danette Chavez to the mic.
Hello.
Hello.
Actually, my heart is really full right now, and everybody is very much cheery and joyful, and I'm not. My heart goes out to Shantel Davis, all the other families out here that have been fighting for justice, all the other families who lost loved ones who we don't even know about because the media doesn't publicize it. You know, today in justice, you have to doggone near exploit your tragedy in order to get interest and support that's needed. And it's a crime and a shame that you have to do that. No parent in this country should have to go place to place and city to city rehearsing what police done to their child, trying to get people to support them in a fight and demand for justice. You know, your job shouldn't be threatened because you're doing the right thing by people. You know, people shouldn't be spied on and surveyed because they're trying to come together to figure out means how to address the issue here in this country. But it is what it is. That's what we're dealing with today. For the last 12 years, I've been fighting and demanding police accountability across the United States.
Yep, that's right.
In the 12 years that I've been fighting this injustice following the loss of my own son at the hands of NYPD, I've concluded, based on the evidence that I've seen over and over and over again, that police accountability is the only way that we are going to see anything even resembling justice in this country. They send you on a runaround, on a chase, chasing this and chasing that, and none of it works. I hope that people who have organizations, who have a following, who have established support, who have contact with the medias, will begin to say that we need a nationwide movement, you know, focused at the top of the highest levels of government itself, demanding that these terrorists out on the street be held accountable. It's more serious today than it ever was before, because you have a person as head of the Department of Justice who has come out point blank and told you, we're not investigating police. So you have a federal government, the Department of Justice, who has told you, we're not investigating anything that police do. Police are going to be allowed to handle and address their murders on their own. We've seen what that will do. And I'm insulted to the highest degree to even have a head of the Department of Justice tell me what you're not going to do when your job description requires you to investigate and prosecute those people at the government level and the local level when they've committed a crime. So I think we should have been besides ourselves as soon as he said that out of his mouth. But anyway, I'm not going to get political here. I want to... No, because y'all, they know I go over there, and I'm trying to keep the focus on the family, the Shantel Davis family. It's hard to do this.
Oh, yeah.
Like Shantel was saying, it's hard. You go through changes when you're having something for your loved one. You worry about stuff that you really shouldn't even have to worry about. Are people going to come? Are people going to show support? You shouldn't have to deal with that. Just like when your child is murdered, you shouldn't have to run here and run there, although these parents are fully prepared to do that and more, but it shouldn't be the case. We should be indignant to even see families have to go through those changes, especially in outright murders where there is no justification for it. So I'm here in support of Shantel. I heard about Shantel's murder while I was at a Marley Graham protest. We got the text over the phone, and we was all like besides ourselves, like what the heck? And then come to find out about Kamani Gray, same precinct, undercover cops. I was besides myself at the fact that you can have officers in the same precinct, undercover, who have a history of brutalizing, false arrest, using excessive force, and the city has rather paid their victims than to prosecute these police. And because they did that, Shantel is no longer here. Kamani is no longer here. So I don't understand how you can understand all of that and it's acceptable to you that they still work as police. There's nothing that you should be able to tell anybody in this city about why Atkins has a job or those officers who killed Kamani. And you have established history of what they have done. You've paid their victims to make them go away and they still work for you. That's just, I can't stomach it. It don't work. It don't work. I'm really waiting for the rest of us across the nation to come to the same conclusion. And simply demand that police be held accountable. And I might be called too militant because when most people think of accountability, they think about reforms and they think about new laws. I'm not really interested in new laws because they don't comply with the laws that they currently have. So I have no reason to believe that somebody's going to come up with some new law and say, okay, we got them now, they're going to follow me. No, they're not. They're not. And they've showed you that over and over and over again. So I'm really feeling like I'm not even looking at the law. I'm looking at what's right. Okay? If somebody's dead, unarmed, for no reason, and this person killed them, something need to happen. I'm not going to be spun around on your law. The law says, well, you, the Department of Justice, is the ones who got out here and told America in the Michael Brown case, but the statute is too high, so we couldn't bring criminal charges against him on the federal level. So I'm like, and where's the rest of that sentence? You can't tell me, as the head of the Department of Justice, that the statute is too high and you can't do nothing based on the law. Where's the new stuff that you're coming up with? You can't just drop that, sorry, we can't do it, and I'm supposed to eat that? I'm supposed to say, okay, gee, try again next time? It's retardedness. It's stupidness. It's outrageous to me that people can even hear that and accept that and, okay, well, we'll try again next time. Stop. Really, just stop. They're playing games with us and sending us on a runaround, on the chase. Chase for some cameras. Chase for a special prosecutor. Ain't nothing special but the label. It's the same folks, it's the same law. Stop. Come outside the box. Stop being made to follow a path and a format that they established that leads you down the same road to nothing. Okay, you will never win this game following their rules. Okay, they made the game, they made the rules. It's going to have the end result that they wanted to have, and that's what we've been getting. You know, and if we don't have the boldness and the courageousness to step outside the box, we are going to get what we have been getting. It ain't going to change. It's not. You know, I don't know in no time in history that anybody who ever fought against any injustice did it by the established rules and procedures. Okay, people did it by according to conscience. Okay, they did things, they refused to move. It wasn't written down somewhere, at this point you should refuse to move and just stand right here. No! Y'all get what I'm saying? I think the point is made clear. I'm trying to not be so emotional. It's just that I feel very, very passionate about this issue of injustice on the whole. You know, because I believe that if you care about righteousness, and you care about fairness, and you despise injustice, it's not only in this corner over here. You know, it's wherever you see it. You know, when you see unfairness and you see injustice, it should provoke some kind of indignation inside of you that this was allowed to be done, you know, to these innocent, vulnerable people. You know, for the sake of what's right. You know, not because they look like you, or they live where you live, or they're from where you're from, but for the sake of what's right. I think that that's the level that we have to get to. Is it right? You know, is justice old? Is justice due? And then we have to get clarity on exactly what is justice. Yes. Because what this country calls justice, that ain't that. So I'm going to release the mic, yes.
So one of the things that I want to also bring out is the fact that if one of us was to shoot an officer, the penalty, I mean, they'll build it on top of us, that's one. But then two, the penalty is life or death penalty. But when one of us is murdered, we can't even get a trial for 2 years, if we even get a trial or get a meeting. And it shows that they don't care. Because the definition of insanity is to do something over and over and over to get to no results. They are working in a system of insanity. And we have to be consistent and bring the message of justice. And that's the point that Danette was trying to make. So thank you, Danette, for coming to the mic.
When it comes down, don't you be afraid. When it comes down, no matter what name you call, just be ready for it all. I am ready for it all. When it comes down, don't you be afraid. When it comes down, no matter what name you call, just be ready for it all. I am ready for it all. See, we have burned them Constitution. I want my own liberation. I want my own emancipation. I want my own liberation. When it comes down, don't you be afraid. When it comes down, no matter what name you call, just be ready for it all. Fred Ho.
Shantel Davis.
Ashe.
Akai Gurley.
Ashe. 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 Ashe.
Sandra Bland.
Ashe. Ashe.
Kareem James.
Ashe. 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 Ashe.
Cynthia Howell.
Ashe.
Cam Livingston.
Ashe. 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 Ashe.
Freddie Gray.
Ashe. Ashe.
Walter Scott.
Ashe.
Oscar Grant.
Ashe. Ashe.
Sean Bell.
Ashe.
Malcolm X.
Ashe. Ashe.
Anthony Rosario.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe.
John Brown.
Ashe. Ashe.
Romero.
Ashe.
Anthony Baez.
Ashe.